Howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. I am Joe, your DM for this evening, and joining me are my friends Matt, eventually Dan, Hannah, Alana, and Tina. Dan is just running a little bit late this evening, and so he'll be joining us in just a few minutes. But before we get into our D&D, a couple of announcements. First of all, last night we had session 23 of our Starfinder campaign, Mosaic Team 5.
Boy.
Yeah, it was a doozy. This group, as they went on vacation, ordered to go to the beach and have a relaxing time, instead are now in
That's all I wanted.
a fight against the Mafia. So that's great.
All I wanted was to go to the beach.
That re-airs on YouTube at noon Eastern Standard Time, followed by this session at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. We are on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Alberon RPG. We have a lot of maps, miniatures, things like that, because we play in person, which is great. We have a close-up camera, although I don't think there's anything on it. Look at that great transition. There's Matt's hand. It's difficult to see sometimes on that camera, so checking it out on Instagram is the easiest way to do that. And then any other announcements? Do you want to anything for your art?
Nope, just still there. Still. It's very busy for the next few months, but it's very nice.
So don't check it out for the next few months, but at Psych Artist on a whole bunch of different social things. Lana's done a lot of really cool art for us.
2 months from now.
Yeah.
Brenna, Oakfeld, and Alana, all of that art is from, and Zeiss
Not Alana.
Alana, Eleanor, sorry. I do that all the time.
Alana is the artist.
So don't get those confused. But the final thing that I have to announce is Sirenscape is a digital tool set that you can use to make really anxiety-provoking soundtracks like this one.
But also calming and soothing ones, right?
But we're not getting those tonight.
Oh, no.
But, you know, a whole bunch of different sound effects, things like that. You can have them for your games. You can have them for your parties. You can have them for your weird dreams. But Sirenscape, digital tool set, check that out. And
What about your normal dreams?
No. It's actually, if you look at the terms and conditions, not allowed.
Oh, damn.
They sponsoring us yet?
It's a good thing my dreams are all fucked.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get a sponsorship.
Yeah.
Sirenscape, fucks your dreams.
Definitely.
Fate Changers. Just one moment. Did I just delete my whole recap? I did.
Undo.
Let me see if I can.
Revert to a
No,
previous
it's
save.
not like it was a week ago. It's not like I'm not going to remember.
I don't know. I don't remember shit from yesterday.
Fair enough. That's why I'm here.
Don't
Fate
do
Changers.
kids drugs.
Great. Fate Changers. Last that we played, your group found themselves confronted with a saltwater elemental dropping down from the ceiling, encompassing Eleanor. You fought with this creature, having released it from the puzzle below, this protector that was encased within one of the rooms. But without too much trouble, you did manage to defeat it, with Shay destroying it punch by punch, just punching a puddle to death. You all made your way up into the next room. Not wrong. Within this next room, you all found yourselves within the vein of cracked crystals. For you, Brenna, a place with some reverence amongst your upbringing. This was the seat of power for the choir gome, those who practice a magic associated with the salt that comes from the ocean just to the east, the dark salt expanse. Within this place, there was no longer any members of the choir gome, but instead 2 other people familiar to you. Your 2 dwarven companions from your first found family, Dalamor and Elris. Along with them, through the portal that seemed to lead to this place of red dust and howling wind, there were members of the Ninth Path that emerged to enter into this fray that, Shay, you began without any question whatsoever. This melee swirled with all of you engaged in this intense battle. For many of you, having already been through multiple combats in this very narrow time span, you went down. I think both Eleanor and Oakfeld finding themselves unconscious at various points. But as the tides seem to be going in the favor of the Ninth Path, after 4 months in-game, 2.5 years outside of the game, Aira and Hylan emerged, or Hylan coming with the rest of the group, but Aira emerged from Calypsos, providing much-needed healing to your group. You're able to turn the tides of battle, though not able to stop the Forge Key from moving beyond this realm and to Calypsos. After defeating the group, you now stand near this howling portal. And Shay, what's happening?
At the moment,
Whirlwind of emotions.
yes, standing, staring at this monk that I've just smashed into the ground. Kind of locked up, looking very tense.
So all of you standing in this place, Brenna, you now hold the sort of injured frame of your friend. Still breathing, you can see now, like, still melting away from the skin, this kind of petulant purple, almost mold, but as it crumbles away into ash, they take a deep breath, and they are certainly still alive, though unconscious. What are you all doing now in this underground place?
I think I'm just picking myself off the floor. And just being like, what's happening?
I'm gonna look at the healer, the one who came in before. His name I forget. And I'm gonna just like point at my other dwarf friend, who I don't know whether she's dead or not, and just ask like, can you help out?
You can see she looks, this elf, almost like silver eyes. You can see, look down to the corpse, and she shakes her head no.
Brenna's just gonna have like a little cry off to the side.
I'm sorry, that's beyond my skill. She turns to you, Shay.
Pointedly not looking.
Okay,
Still looking at this person I just brained.
sure.
What happened?
Are you saying that out, or are you saying it
I'm saying it.
I'm saying it.
This is Akka
to
being
somebody,
like,
or
just out loud to whoever's listening, but like more just kind of like, what? I thought we were about to die, and now we're not dead, and there are two people who were about to kill us, and now they're not killing us. What the fuck is going on, Shay? Not like that, but like that.
I'm pretty sure it was exactly like that.
Mostly just like that.
Pretty much
are you
that.
directing it at Shay, or
Not directly directing it, but like passively, indirectly directing it in the direction of Shay.
I tuned that out because it started to hurt my head a little bit.
Yeah.
for those of you close enough and paying attention, there appears to be some sort of like almost mist maybe that's starting to collect around Shay's shoulders.
Teary-eyed? Teary-shouldered?
Sure.
Who are these people? What? Who are you?
At this point, you can see the portal. About 10 feet beyond, there is 2 elves. One dressed sort of in Zinni clothing, although... no. Well, yes, one in purple. The one I'm describing at the moment is Aira. You can see these silver eyes, this long hair sectioned into ponytails. You can see the Zinni clothing is worn and ragged from being in Calypsos for all of these long months. You see there are areas where there are like burn marks, and certainly the skin a little bit tighter around the face. Next to her is Hyland. You had seen, or no, you had never seen her.
Never seen either of these
At
people.
one point, Gunter had seen her across a winterscape, but
Throwing the other one into a portal.
yes. And so you see both of them, both mountain elves, standing, looking at Shay, kind of waiting, it would seem. Then past them is Shay, and then past Shay is all of you.
appreciate the assistance, but are we at a standoff, a standstill? It's very tense.
This mist is starting to build. It's almost starting to like pop, like static.
Okay.
Is this something that I've ever seen before happening with Shay?
Never.
Is this something that looks like weird magic is occurring around Shay?
Make an Arcana check.
Is there like any sort of reference to what this might be, really? Like, have I seen anything that even remotely resembles what's going on with Shay's teary shoulders? Probably not. It's a natty 1 for a 16.
You spend a lot of time crying, Akka, and so that's really all.
Just ball it all in.
It might be some kind of projection, these teary shoulders. However, no idea. You've never seen anything like this, and it doesn't seem necessarily arcane, although there are certainly arcane elements. This seems to be an element of the key that Shay is able to, most of the time, control. Although this seems almost unbidden.
Shay, are you good over there? You want to explain what's going on? I mean, it seems like we don't want to kill these two, but also, like, I don't know, I'm waiting for your call here.
With that, it almost like sparks off like lightning, and you can see rips starting in the material.
Would I be able to sense the aura and try to figure out what flower represents these two people?
Sure. Make an insight check.
This is very important.
I like how always in like these intense encounters, this is the first thing that Oakfeld thinks.
13.
What shoes are they wearing?
16.
16?
No, this is very important.
No, absolutely.
A flower tells you everything.
You see two elves in front of you. One of them, Highland, a little easier. Yeah, 3. But aside from the Weeping Willow, you see two others. One of them a little bit more fierce, a little bit more wild. You can see with Akka stuttering, she is very quickly getting frustrated with him. And as you sense this aura, you would imagine something hardy, something that is able to grow and at the same time protect itself. And there's this tree, which I'm blanking on the name of because I don't study trees, but it is able to drop portions of its bark, which almost explode in self-defense. You know what I'm talking about?
Eucalyptus.
Is it eucalyptus that does that?
Or it might be the...
Look it up.
I know that it exists in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I've walked into it. They're sharp. But that is what you would imagine. The other one, Aira.
The Hera Crepitans.
Sandbox Tree?
Yes, Sandbox Tree.
known
Aira,
as the
who
Hera
stands up
Crepitans.
incredibly straight, there's a very familiar sensation. At first, you really can't sense their aura. And you remember a very similar sensation when you had met Shay. There is a calmness to the way the energy passes through this person's body, even as their breath, a little bit shallow, they're still kind of catching their breath. But this calmness it makes them almost invisible in terms of aura.
I'm going to say, first I'm going to point to the one that represents the Sandbox Tree.
Oh, you represent the Sandbox Tree. You create an outer appearance of hardness to strengthen yourself, but inside you are much soft like the rest of us. Now for you.
And I'm going to point over to the other elf.
I can't. This is just like when I met you,
And I'm going to point to White Lily.
and I could not pinpoint what your flower was. It's like
Trees aren't flowers.
it's wrapped in a mystery, and I can't pierce the veil.
She is, for all intents and purposes, my mother. So there's another little pop.
I see.
Okay, so where do we go from here? Because Forge Key is gone. Presumably also the Soul Jar gone. More failure and more sadness. I would like to leave.
This era is going to step up and finally kind of cross the 5 feet or so between the two of you. And for just a moment, she hesitates, but then she does put a hand on your shoulder, the one that just sparked.
And it flares.
Sure.
Full out. It's like this. Back and shoulders are now like covered in this like sparkling, crackling, like almost energy. And it's starting to like tear away at the clothing.
So
Or
you
back
see
and
just
shoulders.
almost lightning strikes that erupt, and for a moment, for each of you who is paying attention, almost like this arc shape, and in it you can see elements almost defying gravity of this cloth that begin to tear and drift up before singeing and beginning to burn away within this lightning. This is nothing like you've ever seen.
Shay, do you feel okay? Because that looks painful.
I'm gonna slowly turn around to face Era. I'm not answering Akka.
As Shay turns, and you've noticed through all of your time knowing her that she is very light on her feet, but you swear you don't see them turn. It's as if she shifts in the air.
I'm like, right. Pull out the sending stone, since clearly I'm not going to get any responses for a bit. Deal with that. I'm going to see if I can contact Mr. Gift.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
Time. Yeah.
I think Eleanor at this point is gonna try to like go around all of the weird tenseness and see if she can like find Brenna.
Okay, sure, yeah. You kind of see all the tenseness and you look over and you can see just off to the side of the monks there is Brenna kind of kneeling down holding this dwarf who is covered now just in ash that has been wiped away from her face. And you can see just like a pile of what looks like blackened mold or maybe maggots. It's kind of hard to tell in this refuse. But they're maybe like 10 feet off. Shay. Era doesn't move her hand, even as this strikes. It doesn't seem to hurt her. But she does lean forward and she says, give me 1 second to change this music, 'cause now it's more tense than it needs to be.
Very tense.
That's what you hear. It's Akka. Just the verbal component to Akka sending stone as he has to sing the dial tone.
Trying to reach love.
Yeah. Every person is a different song, so you have to like do a different. Yeah, perfect. I love that. It's your ocarina.
Give yourself a dash.
So you feel Era's hand on your shoulder, and for just a moment, there's this flashback. She looks a little bit different, and you certainly feel different. So much time has passed, and so much distance has passed. You've been in different planes, you've been to different continents, you've been to different times. And for all of that, it's almost like you're back in Squall's End, the first time that you introduced the then Finger Gang to your party or to your family. She had put a hand on your shoulder, and she said what she says now. You've done well, Shay. But this time there is no qualifier. She does not tell you to do better. There is genuine happiness, there is tiredness in her eyes that you have never seen. You see wrinkles that you have not seen before, and though she is well into her 5th century, she looks older than you've ever seen. But she is also happy and relieved. You see red dust coats her face, the hair. You see just behind her Highland, very similar, and though she is always fierce and there's a hardness to Highland, there is relief as well. What do you say?
I don't think I say anything, just kind of tilt my head forward a little bit so the forehead connects with like her chest.
Sure. She shuts her eyes, and for a moment, It's like you're back in Squall's End before it was ruptured and shattered by the corrupt listener. It's like all of this sorrow and loss that has occurred over the last several months was just a dream. But even in that moment, you feel this lightning erupt from your back. And as that cloth sort of tears away, the sleeves moving up in this light, what is it that people see?
On my back, where the shoulder blades are, there are patches of feathers. Kind of this reddish brown color, flecked with black and white.
Aka's internally like, I knew it.
Get a full descending
Months
stone.
ago, he saw the little feathers growing out of your head, but was like, huh, that's weird. You look again. Fucking knew it.
You come down to your feet, and now with these kind of patches of feathers visible, almost lightning-like scars that glow with an internal blue energy on your arms, you can see Eris smiles, and she says, "You've created the staff.
I have the pieces.
Then there is no failure. We can still succeed. This ritual will take time,
It's good at least.
but for now, we need to get away from here."
Yes. We should head back to the ship.
What are you doing with the Sending Stone?
Trying to contact Mr. Gift again. It's been like, what, 2 hours, 3 hours now? So I'm like,
About that amount of time.
shit.
As the monks talk, you take out the Sending Stone, and no problem this time. This corruption sort of burned away from the vein of cracked crystals. Still the portal open, but it seems as if whatever clouded the stone before no longer there, or at least interfering. You hear Mr. Gift on the other end. "Hello, Aga.
Mr. Gift, is everything okay?
You tell me. You're calling me."
I'm really sorry. The Grey Lady's probably coming after Glub, and you are all in danger. I fucked up. I'm sorry.
You don't need to be sorry. It's not even 2 in the morning like it normally is. Glub is fine.
Glub is, Shay, what was he? The Old Hill Dwarf?
Yeah.
Yeah, Old Hill Dwarf, sought after by, Ninth Lair?
Eleanor's just like,
One of the layers of hell. They're after him, and I guess the Grey Lady made a contract with them to seek him out, and she stole one of my memories to try and find his location, and is now presumably either going after him herself or with her minions, or telling the demons, yeah.
Yeah.
Devils are in hell, demons
Yes.
are from the abyss.
Yeah. The devils, they're probably going after, yeah.
Glub is fine. And as long as we're within the collective, we'll be safe.
But devils are probably gonna come after him. And he's small and squishy and kind of dumb. Really dumb. Really.
Without special effort on Drea's part, really, no one can teleport within the collective. So, I imagine devils won't try to break down the front door.
Okay, but still, just be careful.
We will.
I fucked up. I'm sorry. We're probably gonna. I'm gonna come back soon.
You're being too
trying to-
hard on yourself, Aka. It's fine. Drea's back. Oglethrie's back. We're safe.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try to get there soon. We didn't get the forge key, we didn't get the soul jar, they're in Calypso's. A lot has happened, and I'll catch you up on all of that hopefully soon.
Well, I thought I had good news for you, but that's concerning then. The undead have stopped. They've begun to return to the marsh and return into the mountains.
Oh, that's very much not good news.
No, I thought you'd succeeded. but this is troubling. I don't think devils are something that we'll need to worry about, but this is concerning.
Okay, well, I'll be in touch soon. Try and stay safe. Sorry again. I gotta go deal. Shay's mom is here. Or maybe mom. I don't. A lot has happened. I'll talk to you later. I'm sorry.
So as soon as you mention Shay for the first time, all of the monks like turn to you, even like 35 feet away, and so they're all watching that whole part of the conversation. You're like Shay's mom, and like they give you no response or indication that what you're saying is like correct or incorrect. They just watch you squirm, and very much like Shay, it seems to provide them some amount of entertainment.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later then. Bye.
I really relate to Akka on the phone. He's just in there, buddy.
It's like if like a pipe is leaking actively in your house, and you're like, "Hi, so the water's up to about like 4 inches now. I don't know. I tried to turn off the water, but it's still coming. I'm gonna go deal with that. I'll talk to you later. Bye."
Brenna, what are you doing?
I've just been like sitting having a cry because this is the first time that I've really allowed myself to feel feelings since we've arrived. So I'm not gonna bother trying to wake up Dalmor just yet. I'm just having a good old cathartic cry, you know?
Sure.
Not super paying attention to any of this other stuff, although I did notice the crackling and was like, cool, and then went back to crying.
Oh, sweet crackles.
As I see White Magnolia go over to Edelweiss, I too am going to follow over.
Okay.
And I can see Edelweiss kind of upset.
Did you know this person?
Am I Edelweiss?
Edelweiss, yes.
I'm gonna like try to collect myself and be like, yeah, this person was like family to me.
Ah,
Is like not dead. Is like family to me.
in my culture, when a fire burns a tree or plant, it becomes fertilizer, and it returns to us. It may grow future generations, so their roots can grow deeper, and we can grow taller as a community.
And as I say that, I'm going to like grab some of the the ashes and mix it with some dirt I have in my pocket and cast plant growth. And just what flower represents this person?
This fallen dwarf.
Yes.
He's alive, just so you're aware. Like he was safe.
Are you doing the alive one?
No, the dead one.
The dead one is over there. Yeah. Okay, this makes more sense.
Okay, I was gonna say the dead one. I would say I don't know. That's really up to you, Brenna.
She was like really like maternal, but also tough. You know, good combo. She had fiery red hair. So I don't know if that matters. So like nurturing, but resilient.
So what's like a red flower that you like?
Poppy?
Why are you looking at me like I would know flowers?
I don't know. Let's go with poppy because it's the only red flower I can think of right now.
So a red poppy appears out of the ash and dirt in my hands.
Thanks, buddy. This genuinely does make me feel better.
And I just hand it to you.
Yeah,
big
and I'm just
clump of-
gonna like cradle it a little bit. Later I'll find like, you know, in Wally where he has like the shoe with the plant in it.
yeah.
That's later on, like, you know, in Brenna's quarters you'll see like a little shoe with the thing in it.
Perfect. I love that.
The guy's skull.
Eleanor, all of this happens around you. You can see reunions. You can see a little bit of sorrow. You see a very uncomfortable phone call. But what are you?
Stone call.
Stone call. Sorry.
So Eleanor initially went over to Brenna to see if she could like either comfort her or at least be there in like this very like sad moment. And then like she heard like the glove, the 9 hells, and she was like, what the f-? And it's like completely like being hit in the head with like the dragon information over again. Just to be like, glove was once what? And I was like, when Okalakuma started talking, she kind of, her attention kind of came back to like, oh yeah, friend sad. Let's move focus. Friend sad. Just like, well, we can bring him with us and bring him somewhere safe, at least for now. We can try to give your other friend a proper burial before we go.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm gonna... Are we like... I'm just gonna look around, like, are people like getting ready to leave, or what's the vibe?
No, everybody's finished their drinks and they look like they're getting ready to go home. No, what do you mean, what is their vibe? It's, you guys
Like,
are
well-
like bleeding in a dungeon. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna... Okay,
Aka's
fair.
like hands on his knees, just like taking deep breaths now, like off the phone, just like haggard still, because I'm pretty close to death.
I'm gonna say to Eleanor, a proper burial feels right, and I guess I'm just gonna be like, do you want to help? And then I'll leave Dalmor there for the time being, and I'll pick up Eldris, and just, I'm really strong, right? Can I carry her?
Yeah, oh yeah, easily.
I'm just gonna like fireman carry her outside and just try to find a suitable spot. Is there a graveyard nearby?
A graveyard, just like in this ruined town.
It's a town. Like, towns have graveyards.
Is the axe on your back?
Absolutely. I've been instructed that I cannot put it down.
Right, so is the body now like
Oh, no.
touching the
So give me a
axe?
second on that.
Maybe not.
Era is going to say to you, as all of this is happening, you hear Brenna begin to like take a couple of breaths and get ready to lift up this corpse. But Era to you says, once we're ready, we do need to return to Calypso's. We have much work to do.
I suspected.
Crick will be happy to see you.
Yes.
Do you have a way back to some place where we can heal and rest?
We came here by ship.
A flying ship. It's pretty cool. Gamble made it. You know, probably know Gamble.
Yes, I know Gamble. I've known Gamble for most of my life.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He got along pretty well. More well than most people get along.
I'm just gonna be like, Akka, will you help us? Yeah, okay, come on.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, I just need a little help.
Shoulders are
We
kind
need a
of
little
sore
help here.
after that fight. I'm gonna go. I'll go check out. I'm gonna actually. I'll catch up to you. I want to
Okay.
inspect this portal. Before.
Okay, good, so, something to do.
Yeah, make sure that
okay.
if we need it, like the last one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's a really good idea.
Excuse me for a moment.
You walk over to the portal.
Social skills.
Yeah, no, you definitely have one.
Doing great.
Aka's got like a -3 to just positive social interaction.
Okay, so you walk up to this portal. Give me one moment.
I wish I had like older.
Akka, as you approach this portal, you can see just beyond the howling windstorm of Calypso's. Even from this distance, as you are maybe 25 feet off, you can feel the temperature shift rapidly. It is warm within. There is this mystic thunder that you can see crackling lengthwise along the horizon. And every now and then you can see these mountains in the distance. What are you doing?
I guess I'm gonna try to see, is this portal functioning in the same way that the one that we deactivated but kept, somewhat. We took the pieces out so that it's non-functional but can be reactivated. Is it a different method for this portal, or is it did they use the same? Like before, it was the sort of the stones with the runic-looking symbols on it.
I'll say without even a check, you can see at the base of this portal, the stones are carved with very similar runes. You see no intestines or anything of that nature, but looking beyond the circle, you see these huge clumps of arcane crystals of salt that glow with an arcane power, and you would imagine that is where the power is being derived from for this ritual.
Is that salt dark salt? Or is it
this
void
seems
salt
to be
or
just
salt?
this is unlike any of the ones that you've seen, and you didn't have any literature about what this is.
Okay.
I think Brenna explained that this was like an important room, but that was kind of the extent of it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would like take some time while everyone else is, burying their dead, catching up with their mom.
Growing plants.
Yeah, whatever Oakville's doing. I'd probably fully investigate this and see is there a way to do something similar where we can keep it functional, but once Era and Highland go back through, we can close the portal behind them and then not have someone else reopen it again to pour through and cause more havoc from the dark salt.
This one is a little bit more permanent, and so there are no parts of a gate that you could pull away. You can't just kind of kick the intestines away. These are stones that have been carved, and the power source is not mobile. It's these 6-7 foot tall jagged shards of crystal salt. So a little bit different. You could certainly deactivate it probably by doing damage to the stone or to the salt around it. It would be much harder to reassemble.
Okay.
But you could do it.
Okay. I guess I would probably just plan on deactivating this one because we have the other one that we can use, and it's probably safer if we just destroy this one. But I'll confer once everyone else is done having their discussions to make sure that I'm not all right, I'm gonna blow this thing up, and Arrow's no on the other side, and then the thing closes and we just put our hands out.
Both of our hands just get cut off.
No.
It's just two hands that you find in campaign 5 and they're just holding each other like this.
Horrifying visual. Thank
Completely
you.
different plane of existence.
Yeah. So, no problem. You determine all that. For the rest of you, is there anything that you want to do here before you, or how is it that you are getting home?
Yeah, about that. Our ship is several miles away.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
On top of a mountain.
It's always so far.
We came through a secret passage to get to here, and then we were teleported. It's a little bit far away. You magic people, you figure that out, Oakville. Can you move Earth? Well,
Yes, I believe I can.
can you help? We
there
don't
a way I
have
can
a way
reroute
to.
this
We're
portal
doing
to
a
somewhere
burial.
else?
Oh boy,
My
maybe
guy.
our college.
As they're doing that, I'm going to make some long wooden handles, and then I'm going to, at the end, it's going to be flats, and then but curved.
Okay.
Yes, shovels.
You can just say shovels, but all right. You stretch your arm out in the wooden material into the shovel, and you just have the clay face shovels going on.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna hand them out.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna use my hands. That are basically
Snap
shovels.
elements of your body off and give them to people.
Yeah.
You actually see Highland, this elf who you haven't met before, their eyebrow raises slightly at this. But you do that, no problem. And you begin to dig a grave, which does not have to be very tall. This dwarf only about 4 feet, so maybe 5 by 3 you get away with.
Did we go outside, or are we just digging a
It's up to
grave
you
right here
guys.
in the on the 4th floor of this building?
Up to you guys.
I mean, I think I would go outside to dig a grave personally. So
Go wherever she's going.
Yes,
because
yeah.
it's her decision.
So they're following you. You hold this body, you turn around, you have Eleanor holding this broken Oakfeld arm shovel, who looks a little perturbed, and then Oakfeld just the same look that he always has.
Very happy.
Yeah, vague smile on his face, just holding his own arms.
So I think we'll go out and I don't need to find a graveyard, but just some patch of dirt that it looks diggable.
Sure.
That'll suffice.
No problem.
Does that give me enough time to just do? You can't take 20 in D&D, can you? I don't even remember.
What do you want to do?
I want to see if I can reroute this this portal so that we can use it to get back more quickly.
What was your Arcana check?
The original roll was an 18.
Okay.
And yeah, if that's not enough, I would spend all the time that they
Sure.
are spending grave digging to inspect this.
So first of all, the three of you take a little trip downstairs. You go through this room with these crystals still glowing, you would imagine. You can see they're getting slightly dimmer, so hard to tell exactly how long they're going to last, but for a little while longer. You go down through the next floor and then out through the steamy, dripping, bat-filled chamber on the first, and out in the much cooler area around this place, with the ocean off to your side. There's just this kind of stairway that you have to descend, and then all kinds of ground that you can dig away.
I pick a plot and just start digging.
Yeah. So you just kind of walk over across the street from, at one point, what was a residential neighborhood, but as you wait and listen, there's a slight wind off the ocean. Nobody lives here anymore. So you could really kind of pick anywhere. Off to the side, there's like a nice little area, and you can just easily dig and lay this body to rest.
That's what I do.
As you are all doing this, Akka, you get the idea that you could probably reroute this. There is some element of risk to using this in this way. With that Arcana check, I would say the precise nature of that, hard to discern. But you would imagine there is a chance that you could end up somewhere different than what is pictured through this portal. But you imagine you could do it.
Okay. Well, I'll hold on to that nugget until everyone else gets back.
Okay.
Keep trying to figure out all I can in the meantime, and then, like, present the idea to the group to be like, hey, once they go through, I can see if I can get us to teleport closer to the ship. It's risky, but it might save us some time. Yeah.
Okay. So you hold on to that nugget. Is there anything that you guys want to do before Akka presents his idea? He has his PowerPoint ready. He's like,
So
Here's the
Brenna.
chance of success.
So I think Brenna will go back up inside once they're done and imagine that she will be followed. Brenna is now. Well, actually, sorry. Is the axe saying anything? Have any commentary here?
so far, and in tune with the sort of emotions that you have going on, the axe seems to have thought better to this point of suggesting eating these persons.
Okay.
But as you return back and you see Akka just kind of twiddling his thumbs, waiting for everybody, you do feel the handle tug slightly.
So Brenna basically is like on board with eating, especially the cultist who she like recognized as being basically like the cause of all her suffering. But she's gonna try to do it in a socially acceptable manner as possible.
Like Ortolan.
What?
Like Ortolan.
Yeah, right, exactly. So right now, so Brenna at this point, having kind of had her cathartic moment, laying the dead to rest, now she's like back in there, and as you say, like, okay, the axe is tugging, and so she's just gonna kind of like wait for an opportunity
Get a
to chow
sheet,
down.
Put it over your head, and then away from the eyes of God.
She's kind of hoping that she can just like be the last one out of the room and like steal a few bites, but like definitely on board for this.
No worries, no worries. We'll go back to that.
Okay.
As the
like
group
the shark
walks away
ears.
from the grave, I'm gonna cast plant growth again, and just the whole grave becomes red poppies.
Okay, very nice. So yeah, they'll see that as they leave.
Yeah.
But for the rest of you, now standing back up, together convened.
I think while that's going on, would ask Erin Highland if there's anything that we need to know going forward.
So yeah, so she turns and she says, there's much that has happened in the last several weeks. Yep. I'm sure that you know Jaruxa has cleared the webs from his mind and regained the full extent of his insanity. He is leading groups, and they have taken the Burning Bastion. They have managed to disband much of the Legion. They've turned several of these angelic beings to their side. We've taken to calling them fallen aspects, as they each represent an aspect of some part of a greater guardian. What's further, the Mind Flayer has taken residence within the top of this bastion, almost a fortress.
That's Ice Trees.
Yes, that is his name. Those who fell in the initial battles have risen again under his command. And further, the gnome who presumably, as she looks around, kind of spotting elements of gnomish and undercommon, a keeper Zera. She is the one that mans the fields around this place. The three of them together, lieutenants for Azra, the goddess of rot. She calls them from beyond her prison, using some means that we haven't been able to intercept yet.
I knew of the two. This keeper is new to me, but
Does
it
the
makes sense.
third name sound familiar? Like,
Brenna had
me,
told
Matt, yeah.
as you had walked up the first floor, this statue that you had seen, of this kind of almost a little disturbingly alike the Grey Lady in certain
Yeah.
aspects, but this kind of hobbled old gnomish woman. That was Keeper Zera. And that was the person that
I knew it.
driven Brenna away from this
Right.
town.
Yeah, okay. I knew that name sounded familiar, but I was like, okay. Kind of look over it. Brenna. Still kind of like, you did stab me, like, in the back,
Oh,
but a few moments ago. I understand, but, like, this is
my
all
bad.
conveyed in just the look.
yeah, and in my look back, very apologetic.
Like, I'm not going to bring it up because you're, like, literally burying your friends right now, but
Yeah.
that was not very
No, but like picking up what you're putting down, there's definitely going to be like a fruit basket or something in your future.
We're just all gonna exchange fruit baskets.
Just
Yeah, we'll just, like, get one and pass it in a circle. Everyone good?
There's not many of us left, but we've opposed as best we can.
I suspected that would be the case.
With the time that's passed and with the forces that have gathered, we cannot storm this bastion, at least not with our forces. But we do know of a secret way in.
That'll do.
But we need to prepare.
What can we bring?
She looks at all of you. Whatever you need for this battle ahead, we need to obtain that. If you need food or your friends need food, they should bring that.
How long do we have?
Weeks at most.
I'm more concerned with the at least.
Perhaps 2 weeks. It's a complex ritual.
I mean, that's not a day, so we'll do it better than I thought.
Still, one of the phylactery pieces is still unaccounted for, right?
We have two.
We know, yeah, we have two. Zystrees has two. There's a fifth one that's still out there.
Which one is it?
It's so we have the
Eye.
the eyes and the
Grotesque.
the grotesque. That's the grotesque. Zystrees has the arm and
The soul
now
jar.
the soul jar. So the last one is the
salt?
The salt.
yeah.
The salt, which we had a lead on, but it was tenuous at best, I think.
Wasn't the lead the two dwarves and the gnome assault here?
You look around you in this
there's a
chamber
bunch of
full of salt.
salt.
You smell the salty air.
So he's got three.
Seems like he probably has 3.
I wanted to look around the room and see if there's like an obvious
that's a
giant chunk
triple
of salt
failure.
missing.
Make an investigation check.
Or I was also on top of that. Is there something that Brenna would know probably should be there, like some item or object?
Make a flat intelligence check to try to recall something from your childhood.
Yeah, that's gonna be a 9.
I got a 5.
You see a whole bunch of like broken like shards and crystals. You get really close to the ground, and as you walk, Brenna, you try to think back to your childhood. Boom. Eleanor walks into you, kind of jostles you from your memories. Hard to remember.
All right. This is my strength. All right. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Salt was either here and moved, or the keeper has it. Like
No, we probably failed.
Rita had it.
No forge key, no soul jar, no salt.
But we got 2.
We can
Out
at
of
least destroy the
5.
ones we have.
True. And we need to go get health potions. Okay, so the burning
We
citadel.
need more than health potions.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is it
We're gonna be solutions oriented right now. Okay.
Is it literally burning?
The outside is coated with a divine burning stone. Yes,
Anti-fire potions, maybe some
it burns with radiant fire.
radiant, anti-radiant potions.
Angels that were tasked with guarding Azra.
Okay. So,
We have partnered with several of them. Those that survived the initial assault.
okay. So some way to defend against that would be great. Anti-undead stuff, because I got stabbed a lot by the last batch. We may need to up those defenses.
Do any of these things ring any bells for items that I know the collective has tabs on, or even in their possession? Or, yeah, no, that's, yeah.
You know, at the very least, there is a cloak of fire resistance that is hanging up somewhere in the collective. I mean, make a flat.
But I guess, like-
check, I guess.
Yeah, because I guess
Call it
I'm thinking radiant magic, radiant fire is probably not going to be affected by a cloak of fire resistance.
Probably
That's yeah. So
That's why also Eleanor's going to look around for a large chunk of the supposedly magical salt that she could take with her.
With that investigation check, you find a lot of. It distracts you because you look for obviously broken chunks of crystal. There's a lot. There's just a big combat in this room, and so you find a lot. It really is tough to discern. Just broken bits of salt.
All right, she's just going to grab some.
Okay, sure.
Flat
Add a handful of salt to your inventory.
the flat intelligence
Yes.
was 13.
A 13. Boy, you know, you remember at one point having seen an item somewhere. It was a series of bells. It was an illegal item, so somewhere that sells those. And they had mentioned that at one point they had been owned by like a necromancer, and you'd imagine something like that probably has anti-radiant qualities. That was something that was, you know, extremely powerful.
And it was far out of your price range, if I recall.
Yeah, that was at the one with the little door where I got the bag of ants, right? Endless bag of ants.
Either that or it was the
Oh.
exchange you and Brenna went to.
Oh, at the Jade Exchange.
Or wherever it was, yeah.
Right. Okay.
But there's all kinds of items, you know, that exist throughout the world. And the Antiquities Collective, they have a good collection, but it's not by any means comprehensive.
Right. Yeah.
So there's all kinds of things. I mean, you know of an enchanter who lives in Koltaram. There's a lot of people you can call upon.
Got to go to the Antique Roadshow.
Yeah. Antique Roadshow in Port Quinn.
We do have the smiling circle or the silent circle.
I hear were you?
Yeah.
Good boy.
Boy.
That's our cat. My cat.
Our cat.
Our collective cat.
Yeah, I'll brought RPG.
Just a mascot, let's be honest.
Oh, that'd be so cute.
So, if we're walking back to the ship, we should probably go.
Oh, so here's a thought. Highland. Nice to meet you both. Thank you for helping us.
There inclines her head slightly.
So I think I could configure this portal to get us back to the ship more quickly than having to walk, all the way back. There's obviously some inherent risk to this.
How much risk?
How much risk?
You don't really know what the risk is, but you would guess probably close to 10%.
Probably like
Not bad.
5%.
Do I believe
How long is it gonna take?
How long would it take for me to do
Like,
this?
is it gonna take as much time as it would take to get back to the ship?
That's a 27.
No. You imagine a little more than that. In terms of how long it would take you, that will be dependent. Somewhere between 10 minutes and an hour, depending on,
Probably like an hour at most, 2 hours.
I'm gonna look over at Era and be like, what do you think?
We need to make up time. So if that will get us there quicker, I would agree to it. Can we do that to a town directly?
Can we do that to a town directly?
You can theoretically try to open this anywhere.
I mean, in theory, I could go wherever we need to, but again, the inherent risk probably increases as I, try to focus in on more specific locations. But, there's inherent risk with everything,
We could end
especially these days.
Or,
But,
imploded.
so if we don't go back to the ship, how will we get back to where we need to be reasonably? Can you do this somewhere else? Is this like a thing you can do now? Or is this like a one-time, one-way ticket?
If we go to Yorn, we could potentially use Carranza again.
Yorn?
Home has resettled there.
That's appropriate.
Campbell's made great strides.
It was hard leaving him behind, but he was the right person for it.
Maybe I probably would need to make something like this to do it somewhere else, and also have some sort of magical energy source akin to
So,
giant salt pillars.
wait.
Or at the previous one, it was disemboweled corpses and darker magic. But
So if you do something to this portal, what she said, is it a one-way ticket? Or
well, that's what I'm saying. I think, like, theoretically, I could make another portal, but it would take time. I've never made a portal of this scale to a different plane of existence. But, I've teleported before. I've used portals to and from locations on the material plane.
At this point, Highland speaks up and says, if we go to Yorn anyways, there's the aperture.
That's how they got through in the first place.
The aperture. Okay.
Could you repurpose that?
Have I heard of the aperture before?
Yeah, so that is what they all took to get to Calypso.
Right.
In Yorn, this giant metal ring open to the sky.
Right.
They were able to use to open to Calypso's.
Yes. And I guess if we go to the collective, we could take the portal from there to the Lorebinder Academy, and then from the Lorebinder Academy, it's not that far to Yorn, right?
Relatively speaking.
So theoretically, we could do all of that. Or we could go directly to Yorn and see if Carranza would be willing to teleport us to Dungannon and then back to Yorn.
Yorn is one of the safest places I can think of at this point.
Okay, but new question. My lone teleporting experience, there was like 2 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't have a specific point, where do we go? Where do we land? Is it like a target? Is
Well,
it
so
like, are we gonna be?
It's a little different than Carranza's teleportation, because with Carranza it's more, magically fixed on a point that Carranza is thinking of. This one, obviously, it's just a big window into another world. So the one that I would do would probably be more like this one, because I'd be building off of this base.
I'm questioning the accuracy here. Like, are we going to walk through into the collective, or are we going to?
So that's part of the inherent risk that I was talking about.
Maybe
Could probably get
just go
within
back to
the
the
area of the city, but maybe not
That take?
on the right
Are you hearing him?
elevation within the city. It could end up.
Wait, elevate. That's okay.
Well, three-dimensionality is something we have to consider, because right now we're way lower, in terms of, we're underground right now, and
Shay, you make the call.
Dungannon just slightly above sea level. It's actually relatively low because it is right on the coast.
How long is it going to take you, Akka?
Like an hour at most. 2 hours.
You get one shot.
Do I ever have two? I don't think I've ever had two.
Just sets a toolkit down, starts unrolling a whole bunch of different tools, and you set about this task.
All right.
With your, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
Well, are they going to have to use it to get to Calypso's first, or are Aira and Hyland coming with us?
I think they're coming with us.
Okay, cool.
Initially.
All right. What am I doing?
Yeah, they look tired.
Okay.
In a whole different
Yeah,
way.
they probably don't want to be like, hey, we're out of Calypso. And right back in. Cool, got my 5 minutes of fighting
I'm
on
gonna
a
miss
different
the
plane.
Yeah. My wait
I feel
times are
bad
on that.
about. We'll come back for it if we survive.
That's true. If we survive, we can
If we
just
survive, we can
pick it
come
up.
back for it.
swing back around for it.
It's only on top of
Arcana
that.
check.
Leave it outside of a
That's
secret city or
23.
23. With the 23, you'd imagine it's going to take you only about half an hour to get this done. So you kind of set about, you can visualize what you need to change.
Okay.
And so you start going about those processes. As you disconnect the first elements, this portal just closes. And so for a
Supposed
little
to do
bit,
that, just for the record.
for a little bit, you have another round of quiet.
That was.
As Akka works on this, what are you all doing?
Are people distracted enough that I can have a meal?
Take a
I
quick
would say
nibble.
in this kind of small area, if you want to try to sneak a body into a corner, you could, but it would be difficult to do otherwise.
Aka's working solely on passive perception. So just stay out of his peripheral.
Shay's also not paying direct attention to you.
So the two people who are
Notice the
very
worm in the back
perceptive, not paying
No
attention.
longer there. It seems like disappear off and into the darkness.
Okay, so it's not just hanging out.
No.
Okay.
I thought about that too.
Waiting.
We're watching all this go down.
Snacks.
They aren't paying attention. Now I can go get one.
Just eating popcorn this is crazy.
Does Brenna feel any particularly strong compulsion toward the eating?
Weirdly, no. And as you do, you realize this axe has been almost silent. And you think about that, and you remember hearing Aira mention something about the staff. And the axe had already said, Shay bears the instruments of its destruction.
That's right. So
Seems
he's
to be-
behaving.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I'm not going to do anything, and I'm going to mentally kind of very pointedly make that decision, telepathically,
Sure.
sort of out loud to myself. I'm not going to eat that guy after all, and
But he's being so well behaved. You should snap off a couple hands or something
Take a
for
couple
later.
fingers.
that's right. I had forgotten that it was afraid of Shay. So
Yeah.
points for good behavior. We're going to capitalize on that. I would rather not eat human flesh in front of all of you, so
Save it for later.
yeah. So, but I'm gonna just kind of pay attention to whether it fights me on it.
Over the course of the 30 minutes that Akka kind of quietly swears and works on this project, you feel hungry and your mouth begins to salivate. Against your will, you feel this hunger build within you, but it doesn't actively fight you.
I think I am gonna try to snap a finger off. Actually, that's a good idea.
Make a sleight of hand check.
You can pretend like you're going to give them
literal
like
finger
rites
snack.
of burial or something.
Dragon no
do the Oakfeld
19.
like going to each body and then just be like,
There's only one person who might be paying attention to this. Nope, that's a natural one.
Hell yeah.
Which is good, because Highland's pretty
Highland would be like, what the fuck are you doing over there? Why are you snapping off fingers?
Would I notice?
But they're done with this. If you're not paying particularly close attention, probably not. I think it's pretty high.
I'm probably just.
I don't know, my passive's 20.
Yeah, but I think with everything else that's going on, and especially the distance,
That's fair.
what I would say is, how many fingers are you snapping off? Or what are you? You could add whatever body parts you would like to your inventory.
All right, I'm gonna take like.
Take some dicks.
I'm gonna take like. I mean, if I really think I can get away with it, I'm gonna take a forearm.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the 19, it is like half an hour, and so it's over the course of like several little bits. At first, you kind of cut in, and it feels wrong. It feels really uncomfortable. But after like the second cut, you just hear, being quiet for this whole time, you hear, "Yes, brother."
He has been good, so it's like a treat. Dragons can have a little human flesh as a treat.
As a treat, and you can just hear in the back of your mind, "Brenna, you are doing good, Brenna.
Thanks, bud.
You are becoming powerful, Brenna."
I know, bud. Thank you. I'm not gonna eat. I'm just gonna like stuff it into my backpack.
Okay, yeah.
In there.
And I'll say to the dragon mentally, we'll eat later. Great work, bud.
We are a good team.
We are a good team. Yeah, man. And telepathically, I give him a high five.
Yeah, no problem. For the rest of you, anybody doing anything else as Akka finishes this ritual?
I'd probably go up to White Magnolia.
Okay.
White Magnolia. With everything that's happened, I've always in my heart had an expectation that the Green Nature would guide us and protect us, but for some reason I feel a storm in my heart clouding everything, and I fear for what may come.
Well, I'm afraid some things are a bit beyond the realm of the gods. There's only so much they can do. A lot of it falls on us. I guess the best way of putting it is, they're kind of more like guiding hands. And we are the force that actually does active stuff in the world, with some rare exceptions. There are like stories, those that are particularly faithful, directly channeling stuff, I'm sure. But I guess it just on our shoulders.
These stories, do you think they will write them about us?
If we live to tell the tale.
I would like that very much.
So would I.
Akka, you finish this spell.
Yeah, and also like living.
Salmon.
That would be
I think it
cool,
would
'cause
be
dying
Hera and
sucks.
Sydney if she knows how to finish the staff.
Okay. With that, in Zinyi, she'll say, "You have the maker. It can make anything, including itself."
It's like wishing for more wishes. Come on.
So, as she says this, and you have this quick Zinyi aside, suddenly you have the finishing component of this. Roll a d100, please. As when you finish just building your Lincoln
bunch of
log.
makers.
Oh. Yeah, it's like you're on a Staples and you're just banging them out.
Making makers with my maker.
Yeah, there you go.
D100. Here we go, baby.
Grades, you Xerox them.
This one can only make grapes.
Ah, shit, I'm out of toner.
The graper.
All right,
We have a
20.
That's 20.
Well, it was so. What's the ruling here? A 0 on the 1
Yeah.
and a 20 on the 20.
So that's a 0 on the 1. It's just a 20.
That's a 20.
Yeah, yeah.
So this isn't a. This doesn't count as a 10.
It isn't a 2010. No, it's a 20.
Okay. Well, because they're different
No, I know,
different
I know.
schools of thought.
It's not 30, it's 20.
It's not 2011. It is. So no problem. As you finish this component, this portal reopens the split in reality, and you see through it clouds. Just clouds. And as you look, you can see above this huge bank of them, you are just below Yorn. Maybe like 30 feet below the clouds that this magically rests upon.
See, it's the elevation. We're so low, it's so high.
For anybody
but that's
who looks
pretty
down,
close.
it is like a 2,000-foot fall. You barely can make out individual trees. It is just texture below you in the darkness.
I mean,
you get little shadows thrown from the setting
you
sun.
try rerouting a portal to Calypso's
Not
to
all
place.
of us can fly, Aka.
Okay,
Without
well,
assistance
not all of us can make.
of a ship.
Not all of us can make magic portals to other places.
Brenna's
This
gonna
is
kind of like
wherever we
get in
want.
the middle of these two. Brenna's gonna kind of get in the middle and be like, Akka, great job. I'm sorry that I cut you with my axe. And then she's gonna turn to Eleanor and be like, 2 of us can fly. We'll just carry each other up there.
Thank you, Brenna.
Be cool.
Eleanor, why don't you try calibrating this
no.
portal?
We're done with
I
that.
thought so.
You take some time as all
Like,
of this goes on
gently, like,
to make
nudge
your
Aka
way
towards the portal.
to the portal. Eleanor starts to kind of like they're like pressing shoulders against each other with like Brenna tiny, just trying to like hold like easily holding them apart, but based on her size, holding them at like the waist, they're still leaning against each other. But
We're like in
look, and through you can see.
Is there a stair or like is the
You
top?
can see the giant step, maybe 700 feet away.
Okay.
Far, far, far across this bank of clouds.
Sure.
Straight up, you can see the edge of Yorn, only about 50 feet.
Okay.
Like a rigid edge of cloud that seems to almost end
You
along a
can
line.
probably make it.
Hey, Brenna,
Yep. What's up?
I might need your help.
Yeah, Akka and I are happy to carry anybody who can't fly.
I don't
up
need to
there.
carry.
Who?
Right, Akka?
Has
Because
a
usually
rope.
Brenna carries everybody.
I think everyone's forgetting. I can do this. I'm gonna just like, foop, foop, fucking vortex warp.
There you go.
Vortex. You had the spell slot for that?
It's my in my weapon imbued
Yeah.
bullshit.
So are you all, are you
do it
all,
at 11.
I did forget that you could do that.
are you all willing to be vortex warped up to Yorn?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I grab my buddy's frame before we go.
For what it's worth, I do only have
It's not really body.
6 left, so I can fly myself.
Oh yeah, I'll fly too if you've got limited.
Yeah, I mean, we're presumably gonna take a rest soon, so,
Hopefully.
but
Both Hylan and Era will kind of nod, and Era will say, we can get up ourselves.
I figured Shay could probably do what you could also do. Yeah, I've seen Shay.
You see Hylan kind of bend her knees slightly, looking up, and then just a little bit more, and then up and through the portal, gone.
All right, well, ready?
One by one, you vortex warp several of your companions up. For the rest of you, you are able to fly or jump. Era takes the last trip through.
Not gonna do it for Oakfeld, and then when I get up there, I'm gonna turn back, and if he's still just standing there, and be like, All right, fine.
Oakfeld, you watch as weirdly Akka goes across first and then pulls you across, unlike everybody else. Aira jumps with her particular martial focus. She can't jump all the way in one jump, but you watch as sorry, not martial focus, mystic focus.
Double
she
jump.
turns the staff. Yeah, she's able to like slam into almost appears to be nothing, but it's like the clouds condense under the staff and form something for her to push off
Literally
against.
like Super Smash Brothers double jump.
Yeah, basically. And she manages to lift herself up, no problem, to the edge. All of you alight onto Yorn. The beautiful white marble ruins of a giant city with elements of thin, almost gold-like material that seems to hold it together at the seams. There's broken glass amongst these buildings.
Looking back now, is the portal still there, just like
Yes.
30 feet down?
Yes.
Okay, that's actually kind of good
Yeah.
for now.
Sure.
It's not good.
A bird just flies right into it.
You see a bird fly right into the split part of it, and like their wings and head go into it, and the other, it just gets like, meow.
The wings keep flapping, there's nothing in the middle.
I hate it.
Horrifying. Okay.
Two-dimensional object in a three-dimensional world.
There's like a storm like 3 inches off the ground in that room. But yeah, so that portal certainly
Same
still open.
hunter somehow gets through. Okay.
Where in Yorn are we?
So at the moment, you all look around. It's not a place that you've necessarily been, but looking to the north, you are kind of on the western edge of Yorn, and you can see the large building of the Aperture several blocks away. You know that just off and to your west, if you were to travel for about 10 minutes, you'd get to a huge hole in the ground that was at one point a siege that would lead you to the heart of Yorn itself, also known as the Loom. But that is what you see around you.
Start heading off in the direction of the Zindi.
Sure, no problem.
The person we met when we started in Yorn, me and White Magnolia.
Gamble.
Is he still here?
You would
We'll
imagine.
find out.
I would like to see Gamble at some point.
Master
We're
Gamble's
probably gonna see.
yeah.
We're probably gonna see Gamble in a short time. As we're walking, I think.
I was also gonna
Oh.
do something. Well, I'm sorry, Brenna. While she's like muscling her like unconscious friend along, is gonna ask, I guess Shay, or like Brenna doesn't know who knows their way around, so she's gonna ask Shay because she's moving with conviction. Are there any like healers, like hospitals around where I can drop off my buddy?
Yes, there are.
Air will speak up with us. With time, when the spirit heals itself, she will come to or she won't. But this has to happen naturally.
Cool.
Would your friend want to return?
Yeah, I mean, I assume so.
Then let's wait.
So while we're waiting, maybe we should come up with like a week plan. You know, we've got 2 weeks, so if we plan ahead like a whole week to try and prepare, then if we need to, we'll be ready in a week, and if not, we still have some more time. But you know, we can kind of. I feel like we should plot our course now, because we're so fucked.
And we're just gonna like nods along to all this and goes, okay.
This makes sense to me.
That's all we got.
Maybe we
So-
should rest, though.
Okay,
We can't
so yeah,
plan
we'll rest
how we are
when we
right
get
now.
back. So we'll walk and talk. Maybe we get to Yorn, we rest, we check in with Gamble and the rest of the monks and see what help they can offer us. Hopefully Carranza's still there, and Carranza can bring us to Dungannon, and we can check in there and make sure that Glub is fine, and Mr. Gift and Drea and Ogle 3. And
Brenna, your danger sense suddenly alerts you to the fact that you are not alone. And you notice, similarly, that you are being watched. You see Aira and Hylan almost at the same time. All of you kind of shift your gaze. The rest of you kind of like, wait, what? Because everybody just turns as well.
I'm just like, okay, and so then if we go like this,
You're like making
hey,
spreadsheets.
I'm talking here.
And then, like, separating themselves from the shadow of the crumbling roof of a building that you pass, you see a familiar face, not Krodok. The sort of almost, I'm losing the name of the shape, but it's like a broad hat that comes down to a flat sort of point. You can see an eye patch, mechanical arm. This is, oh gosh, Meliora, thank you. Who you haven't seen in some time, but you could see Aira has just a faint smile on her face. And Meliora looks at all of you. You're back.
We're back. You're also okay. Good to see you, Meliora.
You can see she leans forward and she bows ever so slightly to Aira, and then turns to you ever so slightly to you, and then just kind of ignores the rest of you.
Oh, we got along.
But she, relatively speaking,
That is getting along for
Yeah.
Meliora.
yeah.
We bonded.
She's going to sort of drop down off of this roof and lead you into now significantly more renovated since you've last visited, even in the maybe 2.5 weeks that it's been. You can see as you walk into these stone hallways, there's the long tables that you've eaten dinner at before, although they look much more laden in crafting materials, and you can see that is probably because these almost stone apartments, trios of levels, built against the glass that had been built along this huge hall that has been hollowed out. Much more finished. And so people now eating in their own sort of apartments that have sort of kind of popped up here. The main hallway now more like an alley, and you can see bricks have been taken away from the roof, and you can see stars above. This place now more and more finished. There are sconces that are lit and provide little bits of light along this interior street. There are people here. You see a lot of Squall's End villagers, probably about 7 o'clock at night now. And so people kind of going to and from, the evening maybe winding down. You see a few people in blue robes, lorebinders, also residents here. And they seem to have mixed in a little bit more, no longer quite as segregated. You see a few of them in what is normally sort of the Zinni and Squall's End area. But you have all returned to Yorn. What would you all like to do?
I'm looking for Gamble first.
Without too much trouble, Gamble is sort of the leader here. And as he approaches, the crowd sort of gives him this deferential space. He moves, and he doesn't have to ask anybody to move. It's almost like they move around him. And as you look at him, he doesn't look very different to many of you, but there is a difference to his eyes. You can see there is almost a reflection behind the pupils, almost like a cat's eyes in the way that it seems to turn the light. And you remember after a time, the listener developing these brilliantly glowing blue eyes. This is almost like the first stages of that. But he smiles. He smiles to Aira, not surprised in any way. Welcome back, he says in Zinni, none of you really understanding this particular part. But Aira bows and he bows.
No one's upset about Highland.
No.
Okay.
Things didn't go necessarily to plan. But
Gamble kind of shakes his head and he smiles. Shay, things rarely go to plan,
yes.
especially for all of you. But you've made it this far.
I think a few beds are in order.
Of course. He smiles at all of you. Let me show you to a place that you can rest, and we can talk in the morning.
Much appreciated.
Awesome.
Leads you through this hallway, past these small kind of apartments, and leads you to a relatively empty house. To all of you, kind of normal looking. Shay, though this is almost inseparable from the others, there are stones in this wall that have been transported very caringly and intently from your original house. And as the doors open, though this is a relatively simple apartment, yours was never very complex. And you see the one beam that serves to support the structure in the middle has been carved from your house as well. So there are elements of home still here.
Touching.
But Gamble opens the door. There are several beds in this place. I assumed you would bring your friends back here at some point.
Yes.
You are always welcome.
Thank you, Uncle.
He bows. We have much to discuss, but it can wait,
Yes.
at least for a time. He
More than will
turns
bring
and
clarity.
looks at Era, and Era kind of nods to him. We have much to catch up on, and this has been heavy to wear. I'll be grateful not to hold it anymore for you. And Era nods to Gamble. Thank you for being the listener in my absence. They kind of turn. Era turns to you before they leave and just says, I'll be back in the morning.
Sleep well.
Thanks again for helping us.
She turns and kind of looks you over, Akka, and she takes a few steps over and puts a hand on your shoulder, and she is going to heal you for 50 points of healing.
Hey!
Nice.
And as she puts her hand on your shoulder, she almost shifts it back. It almost like a violent motion, although it doesn't feel that way. It is this kind of crunch, and this element of your shoulder just pops into place that was almost like dislocated before, and you feel a pressure in your chest that you just kind of attributed to getting older suddenly release. And it's just like smoothened out.
Oh my god, my whole life.
Suddenly your credit score is a little higher.
Whoa! Everything's so much better.
Thank you for helping Shay.
She's helped me enough too. Most of the time. Except for that time where she punched me.
She looks at Shay and then turns back to you. There are some things that carry through the family.
Is that a threat?
You don't see a smile, but you almost read it in her eyes, and then she turns.
Like the last time that one of Shay's family members said something vaguely threatening like that, it was a threat.
No, Gamble was way more overtly.
It was very overt. Yeah.
Era bows to you,
And go back.
and then her and Gamble turn to leave. Highland waited outside, goes with them, and they head off in the direction of the new temple. For all of you now, you have this moment where you can find a long rest if you want. Is there anything that any of you want to do before bed?
Yes.
Also, yes, you go first.
No, you go first. I gotta
Well-
ruminate a bit.
Brenna, I think, is gonna like wait until everyone else is asleep and then go sneak out with her snack and consume it and then go to bed.
No problem.
Cool. So I've got only 4 hours where I need.
Oh no!
I would say you know this about Akka.
Yeah.
That being said, there are many elves here, and there are sentries. This is a place that is like civilized and relatively like well settled at this point. Though you can certainly leave this protected hall and go off into the wilds of Yorn and just kind of find a place to eat fresh meat.
Is there like a window?
Yeah, it is
Okay.
big glass windows.
I'm gonna
There you go,
open the
snacks
window and like fly out, and I don't know if there's nobody on the roof. I mean, I know Shay well enough by now to expect like a monk on the roof, but if there's nobody there, I'm just gonna camp out on the roof.
Okay. You fly up on the roof. Make a stealth check.
16.
16. Okay. You look around and you feel relatively alone. You pull out this bag, and then as you do, you just hear, and relatively quiet for the voice in your mind, but just, yes! And you get down to work.
I do.
It's cold and stiff, and elements of it kind of crumble, and at first you expect it to be awful, but almost worse than that, as you tear into what is human flesh, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
There's something about it that the texture to it, it goes from being chewy to really just having, like, when you eat beef jerky, that nice amount of tear. And you kind of enjoy this. And as you eat it, you could hear, "You see, Brenna? We could have been doing this before, Brenna."
I know, bud, but we don't need our friends.
Aka is not my friend.
Well, he should be, because he's
Just
really...
gotta give him a chance.
We had a deal. I'll feed you whenever I can, but Aka and the rest of my friends are off limits.
He shall friends.
There's like a brief moment. Make a persuasion check.
These do not go well for me when I talk to the axe.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
6.
I don't think Aka is your friend, Brenna.
Agree to disagree, my guy. And then, am I done with my my meal at that point?
Kind of wipe this like, element of almost like at first, it's just like, oh, it's like something on your lip and it's like skin. You have to like kind of pull it away, and you go to throw it away, and your fingers almost don't open. You finish that as well.
right.
But yes, you finish.
I'm gonna like clean myself off like before I go back inside, and then sneak into bed.
You get into bed, the axe still cradled in your arms. You have the aftertaste of dinner in your mouth, and every now and then, you know, as you like move your tongue around, you get like a little piece out of your teeth. But as you go to sleep, the last thing that you hear from the axe is, "I'm glad you didn't die, Brenna."
Oh, me too, bud.
Okay.
So I want to spend the amount of time that I would have in a long rest
Okay.
for the next however many days that we have to do it, to figure out everything that I can do within this amount of time to optimize everything within my armor to prepare for this fight. And so for the first time in like years, I'm going to doff the armor.
Okay.
Like completely doff.
Yeah.
I've taken parts off before.
Sure.
Let's stay sanitary, but like, you know, all the elements that have been like key to not getting taken over by
It's not just
Zeiss and
Aka soup
everything.
in
It's like,
there.
Every week he takes one piece off.
Yeah.
it's like, you know, the arm pieces and the part, you know, not going to go into the details of it.
There's an autoclave built into it. Okay, no
Cycles
problem.
water.
You do that, you begin to look through it. What are you trying to mechanically do here?
Min-max.
No, I think I'm trying to figure out, like, you know, everything that I've read over the course of, you know, gathering all the books from all the various places that we've been to.
Sure.
All the stuff that I've read about Zeiss, all of the Tri-Ward stuff, pretty much like drawing upon all of my knowledge, the pieces of armor that I found that were scraps from another similar armor set, try to figure out, like, what can I do with all of this knowledge to improve upon what I have here in a way that's going to adapt it to be more, you know, more resilient in Calypsos.
And I would say what you would need to do is incorporate elements of items that could provide those benefits. There isn't really a way that you could, like, make the armor better that isn't represented through, like, leveling up or...
Yeah, this is more thematically.
Okay, sure.
Not actually going to...
So what I would say with that is what you're really thinking about is between the collective and whatever you might find in Dungannon, what could you use to, or what should you be looking for?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, already off the bat, you can think, you know, with Zeiss, something that is going to be able to resist the mind-warping influences that he has.
Right.
You know that there is this goddess of rot who has bestowed powers of necrotic energy upon people, so probably something relating to that. You don't know anything about Keeper Zera?
I guess I would also, because presumably I saw the lore binders, they're still here, I would try my luck again at getting into their collection up in Yorn to see if there's anything there about Keeper Zera, Zeistris, and Juruxa, and Calypsos.
Okay.
And, like, things that would lead me in the direction of what we collectively can look for in the limited amount of time that we have to help us in this
Okay, no problem.
Challenge.
So you do that. You move off into the library. Is anybody else have anything that they want to do?
I guess the only thing that Ellen really wants to do is actually take out that deck of cards that she
Sure.
took from Storm's place, kind of shuffle them before she goes to bed, and without trying to influence it, just draws the top one just to see what it is.
Yeah.
Deck of many things.
No.
No, sadly. No, that would be funny.
Just a deck of many cards.
I have one deck.
I believe you
I
gave
have
me
a deck of cards.
Somebody else has another deck of tarot cards.
Oh, I have a deck of stone cards.
because at one point I made a
Made
wind
of
chime.
stone. Yeah. They're
not
like
wind-
little stone slates.
dream catcher from someone's cards.
Okay, so do me a favor. Roll a d100.
A lot of D100s.
A D52.
Do you have my D10s? They're in my fish.
Do you want to borrow?
Your fish.
In my fish.
That one's yellow.
I will take one of each. And then. So it's 2 and 0 zeros.
2
2 on the 1 and then a 0 0.
That's
Okay.
two.
There's just 2, right?
Just
Yeah.
two.
Alright, cool.
No worries. You pull out the first card, and as you do, it is the Avenger. You see a knight helm, this kind of white tassel that goes off into the back, this flowing white cloak. They hold in one arm, the right hand, this broadsword, it looks like. Seems to be emanating light from some kind, and you see a symbol that looks almost like a compass into the hilt, although a little bit different. Almost more like a star. And it just says the Avenger below. It's like a paladin.
Alright. She kind of looks at it and kind of like shrugs, like, appropriate. And just kind of goes to bed.
No problem. Oakville, anything that you do?
I would probably look out the window.
Full stop.
And try to like sense any ores of like what kind of plants live on York.
Okay, sure. You close your eyes,
Wistfully.
especially now with the staff. You expand your consciousness out, and you don't feel like you need to expend any kind of effort at all. You feel tiny grasses out in the courtyard. You feel in this aquatic area, maybe like 500 feet off, you sense like elements of algae and like an internal sort of pod-like plant that has oxygen sacs kind of within the, almost like kelp. You sense elements of moss, and then somewhere off and somewhere far into like Yorn itself, there are a couple different kinds of plants like bushes and things like that. And then weirdly, in the middle of the city, you sense like this towering expanse of pine and fir trees. It's almost like somebody ripped a chunk of a mountain up and placed it right here on top of this island.
I feel very different because when I was here before, I didn't have this sense of like what this place represented for plant life. It was like it was more of just like an experience for him when he was first here of trying to grasp how plant life could live on such a place, like high into the sky without any dirt or anything to support it. And now like this emotion like rushes into him that like perhaps plant life can be anywhere. And it doesn't really matter if you're back in the Feywild or if you're here with adventurers. It's anywhere plants can be.
Over the course of this time, you remember at first when you helped these humans, you had broken the laws of your land and been kicked from the mountain of never-ending harvest and turned into this foul human. And you had always considered it a punishment. Those of your community had cast it as a punishment. But in a way, this seems to be now almost a reward. You were a plant, and you were given the ability to walk and find places where there were none and bring them there. You put your hand in your pocket, you feel many acorns, one of which still a little warm to the touch. You are the person that brings these plants places. Melora doesn't just pop up. There are those that bring it, and Melora never speaks to you directly. her will is sort of impressed upon the world by those that follow her. There's a little bit of Melora in all of us.
I think with that, I'll just take like my hand out and just let a dandelion float into the air,
Okay,
and then close the window and go to bed.
no problem. The dandelion floats out and into the darkness, past the stars, and just kind of drifts into the clouds as it falls to the earth below. Shay, is there anything that you want to do?
I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
Shay's tired. This is the first time she's used up all of her ki.
Yeah.
Damn.
Aka. You find your way, give me one moment, over to the library or the collection that was once held exclusively by the Lorebinders. Give me one moment. So yeah.
I noticed that too when we started.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that.
Is in
Tom.
danger. What will the group do?
It's weird if you adjust it through Twitch. Sometimes it doesn't update. I have to like get in the habit of doing it through OBS. We're not playing Starfighter. We're playing D&D 5e, folks.
Wait, what? What have I been doing the last 2 hours?
So, you find your way to this collection, though the doors are open, and there is one Lorebinder inside, but they seem to be one of the transcribers, kind of furiously copying down a book. They look up and kind of smile wanly to you and go back to what they're doing. The other person who has a book, or one of these huge vellum sort of tablets open in front of them on a desk, little lantern next to them, is Karan Zabillos.
Oh,
Who seems to be reading up on some elements of arcane work. These huge, giant letters.
super pleased with us last time.
But her head down, she kind of seems to be ignoring most of what's happening.
Gonna like not try to. I'm gonna, go in looking for the things that I'm looking for. Not actively trying to avoid Carranza.
Okay.
Making my presence known and pretending to not notice her unless she reacts to me.
Okay. So you kind of like walk in and do like a little kind of thing, and
Like
she does look up at that, and you can see her face falls a little bit.
I like look this way and kind of like.
You hear the sigh. Now the corner of her eye, you see she just goes back to like looking down and reading.
Okay, I'm gonna go about my business, and then maybe when I'm done looking through the collection, be like, "Oh, hey, Karans."
She looks up, and first of all, as you look through the collection, most of it has been removed. There are still things that relate to. These are all like almost catalogs, and so these are like things that are more record keeping, less like about lore, and more about like crops. Year 1 through 5, and that kind of a thing. So people kind of painstakingly moving through these are transcribers and Carranza, but Carranza is.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, she is there. I mean, you're here, so
I'm here.
do you need me to take you somewhere again? Is Gamble gonna kind of...
Well, if you're offering,
I'm not.
okay, well,
But you seem to be good friends with Gamble, and Gamble kind of makes me do stuff, and I owe the guy, so...
I mean, it's for a good cause. If it makes you feel any better, I made a portal that brought us here. I actually suggested that we go somewhere else, and then they were like, well, if Carranza's gonna be there, then she can just bring us. The time is sort of the essence for what we're doing.
Okay, what do you need
By the way, I died. Lots happened. So it's been a long. What's it been, like a week?
Since you saw her?
Yeah, since we saw her. 3
Probably
weeks.
closer to like a month and a half.
it been,
Yeah.
like a month?
It's been a while. The last time you saw her wasn't when you ditched her on the ground. It was when,
We
you
took off in the ship.
Yes.
So a lot has happened in the last month. Most of it bad. Couple good things. Most bad. So whatever you are willing to do to assist us would be very greatly appreciated by me personally and probably everyone else, although I don't know, sometimes they seem pretty unappreciative of most of the things that I do, except for Brenna, she's nice.
Look at Aka make friends.
So, what are you reading there?
He said, I'm nice.
Over the course of you talking, there was a point where you went from, okay, make a persuasion check at advantage, to make a persuasion check, to, Aka, make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
I mean, yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, there's a whole trip that happened there.
Okay, go check out the...
This feels low.
Yeah, well, it's because I went to the
Feels
other
desperate.
went to the other page, so it's loading.
30 feet of rope helping.
Okay. 14?
14.
Not the worst.
Amaka!
So, what are you reading?
Ends with jazz hands.
Look, I know whatever it is that you're doing is important, and so, especially for Gamble, I'm willing to help you out, but I don't want to.
Okay, well, I don't want to do I didn't want to do any of this. I still don't want to do it, but I have to.
You don't have to do anything, Aka.
Everyone always says that, but, like, do they really mean it? No, if I didn't do it, then who's gonna do this shit? No one's gonna do this shit. We're all gonna fucking die. So, yeah, I gotta do it.
Somebody else will do it. Like, when we were down there, I saw a bunch of shit I didn't want to do, so I didn't. I came back.
Yeah, and who did it? I did it. And if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? No one. Shay's gonna try to
Shay
do
will
it.
probably
Shay
do it.
can do it, yeah, but Shay needs help, and also I have personal reasons. There's a lot of things that are going on, and one person can't take it all. So if I help out a little bit, maybe it'll make it easier for the other people when I don't want to do something, and I can say I don't want to do it, and then they'll be like, okay, cool, you've done all this stuff, so that's fine.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
I've had a long
I literally just
Couple
said
of
I'll
months.
do it, I just don't want to, and now you're just giving me all of this. This is a lot.
Yeah,
friends,
this
but-
is a lot. I'm sorry.
Aka should not have
been-
gone to have this conversation by himself.
It's been a long,
Insists on talking to
long
people.
couple of months. I literally died.
This is Aka's therapy.
Look, don't mean to take it out on you. I'm sorry that I snapped at you. But your help would be greatly appreciated, even if you don't want to do it, because sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do. And I appreciate that you've already said that you would do it. So thank you.
Thank goodness for talents.
That was probably like the most insincere thank you I've ever heard.
Well, that's sincere enough from me, because, I'm not good at,
All right, we're working together, so
Yeah, we're working together.
why don't
Yeah,
you just turn around and go to bed?
maybe. I'm. What are you reading there?
She she slides this vellum around and it cracks a little bit. This is like ancient, and so this has become much more heated. So she just whips it around, and you do make out some arcane glyphs and giant. You don't speak the language, and so you can't really make it out. But seems to be something, and you get hints. Make an Arcana check.
Natural 20, baby.
You see lots of elements of transmutation, and as you look at it, and she turns and she sees you go through it, she goes, "Yeah, I'm a transmuter." Like you've seen.
I know you're a transmuter, but
They do something here where they can make clouds that carry you across, and it has something to do with transmuting the air into something different. That's very interesting to me and the things that I want to do. So I'm looking into that.
okay, cool. See, I appreciate knowledge of the arcane arts, and so I think there's we started off and continued on the wrong foot. I apologize. I think that we have more in common than we would both guess.
Can I make a suggestion to you?
You probably
this is not-
I've probably
I know.
heard it before.
Just from you holding your arms that way, I can kind of tell you don't. This is gonna come across as kind of mean, but I mean this totally
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, I'm
if
sure
you
I've
stop
heard it.
talking about 10 seconds
Yeah.
earlier in all of your
Yeah.
sentences, you would be fine.
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah.
probably really like you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. I come across as a bit rough, and you know, it's one of the quirks of my personality. And
See, like right there, if you would just stop and I come across as a bit rough, that would be absolutely honest. People would sympathize with that and
Yeah,
they'd
probably
respect
would.
that would be honest. And then you just go and say, but I'm a gem.
I didn't say I was a gem. I said I'm rough around the edges. You know, I had a difficult upbringing. I was raised by a bunch of Goliaths who are not the most pleasant people if you've ever encountered them. So, you know,
You know, I actually kind of thought that, but Boron, like, I don't know if you met him.
Boron's like a weird. I've never met a Goliath like him.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but his nephew was up here just like a couple of weeks ago.
nephew?
He's this
He has a
big
nephew?
Yeah, he's a huge Goliath. He plays spike ball down in the Port Quinn.
Huh. Okay. I guess you learn new things every day. Okay, well, I'm sorry. Again, I appreciate your advice. I've heard things similar to that throughout my existence, really. I'll try to take it to heart, but I can't make any promises because, you know, set in the ways that
It's
go
been
on.
like a long time, and you're still doing
I
it.
still got a lot, you know, I've got more important things to focus on than, like, bettering myself. Gotta, like, you know.
So it was 5 seconds that time.
Yeah, see, I'm improving.
I think that's worse.
Really?
Yeah. But, you know, you're tired, so why don't you get some sleep?
Yeah,
I do understand that you're, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rest. Again, I thank you for helping. I apologize. I hope that, you know, this has been cathartic for me. So I feel like maybe, you know, we've come to some sort of understanding here.
I mean, I don't hate you.
Okay, cool. I don't hate you either.
All right.
Okay, cool. I can live with that.
Suddenly there's this snap, and you can see the Lorebinder scribe has been trying to write this whole time. Like, looks at you very pointedly, pushes his glasses up, and just walks out of there.
That guy hates me.
Oh, that guy hates everybody, but that's because he's an inscriber, and I guess they just have to kind of copy notes for people all day, so
Oh yeah, I would hate everyone too.
that sucks.
Yeah. See, we get along. There's more in common.
Let's.
All right, I'll leave you. Enjoy your vellum. I'm gonna-
So you see, they take the vote, look at the newspaper, put it down, you walk away, no problem. Fantastic. So you go back off and you find a place to take your 4 hours of meditation.
Put that one on the website under like highlights of
Yeah,
August.
absolutely.
That entire conversation.
Word for word.
Scroll.
Enthusiasm.
So no problem. All of you can mark off a long rest and thus level up to level 17. Which is officially the highest that I've ever gotten in a campaign. So it only took 4 years.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah. So, because it is about to be 9 o'clock, this is a great place to take a break. It is 8:57. We will come back at 9:07, and we will finish up our session then. Thank you for hanging out. Talon, welcome.
Thanks, Talon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Talon.
Thanks, Talon. And we will be right back. Howdy folks, welcome back to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition D&D campaign. Thank you if you stuck with us through the break. Hello again, Talon. We'll just jump right back into this. Fate Changers, one by one, you wake up in Yorn, now level 17.
Woo!
New abilities for some of you, feats or AGIs for others of you, and what did you end up doing?
So thematically, it actually works out because I get 2 more Artificer infusions.
Nice.
One of which is going to give me resistance to necrotic damage.
Hey,
Look at that.
Good timing.
Yeah. I didn't realize I got 2 more, so that's good.
very nice.
Yeah.
So, you all find consciousness, and at some point, Era does come back to your little group.
Is my friend awake?
Your friend's still unconscious.
Okay.
They look a little bit more constituted, a little bit less pale, and you would imagine, similar to a raised dead spell, there's a certain number of days, given their advanced state of being kind of like inhabited by something, they will probably come to consciousness after a certain number of days.
Okay. I'm just gonna leave him there in the bed.
Sure.
Pat.
As I imagine, since I went to bed first, I'm probably up first. Take the time to actually tailor my clothing a little bit so it's more of like a halter top as opposed to just the blown out back that
No problem. So you take the ragged edges and kind of mend them and create new seams and form an element of clothing that is less ragged. No problem. Anybody else? Anything before we move through the day? All right.
I'm just going to go ahead and update my character sheet.
Go for it. So, in the morning, there is a knock on the door, and you can see through the window that leads into the hall that it is Era. The door opens, as there are no locks on these doors. She bows to those of you who are awake or waking up. Good morning, all of you.
morning.
We have a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Is there a place that all of you would like to begin?
So I actually spoke with Carranza last night. She is willing to help us get to where we need to go. I would suggest Dungannon, but if anyone else needs to go anywhere else, I'm okay with that too, I guess.
Well, we need supplies. So if we can get what we need in Dungannon, great, but we're here, so if there are any places that we can go to get some
Is Gamble
even
with
just
us now?
items.
Not currently with
Okay.
you.
Okay. I have something that I want to give to Gamble.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess.
We can probably pick up some of the things we need here, but certainly there are probably going to be others that we're not going to have access to.
Okay, so this is what I was saying before. If we're planning things out, we spend a day here gathering supplies, information, goods that we need that we can get here. Have Carranza take us to Dungannon. That means that we have 1 day there before Carranza can take us anywhere else again. So that's 2 days. We take 1 day in Yorn, 1 day in Dungannon. That's 2 days. Then we go 3 days. Day 3, are we ready? Are there any other people that we can help have us, join the cause? Or, I don't know. What?
Does Carranza need to come with us?
Carranza?
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta touch her and stuff.
So
Has she
is
agreed to take us back here when we're done in
I think,
she
like,
know that? That she's coming with us for an extended period of time?
No, but if Gamble asks her to, yes. So, probably, because I think, she understands the importance of what we're doing. Not as happy to be doing it as some of us, maybe.
Maybe we should
But-
pay her.
Or you were going to the collective,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Would there be any chance that there might be something there that she could observe or spend time
I'm
doing so it's
sure,
not a complete waste
that
of
was
time?
actually, we kind of bonded over the...
You bonded.
Good.
Yeah, it was, yeah. we
Wow.
made some progress, I think. Well, I don't know. She said maybe not. Probably not. It was worse.
So I think
Yeah, so-
a day in Yorn and then a day in Dungannon and then go from there sounds
Well,
about right.
I don't know if we can just afford to just go from there, because that's how I died. And
Oh, I didn't mean.
Go from there.
I meant like we can decide what to do from there.
okay, but that's why I'm saying we have today in Yorn to gather supplies. In the meantime, we can plan out more than just 2 days and then question mark, because I would like to know that we're as prepared as we can be for what is eventually and probably inevitably going to be our imminent demise. Trying to put a positive spin on things, we have like 2 weeks, maybe. I would say again, if we spend a week preparing, then if we have more time, great. But if we're ready to go in a week, then we're, in a good spot.
I don't think I understand why the whole week has to be planned out though.
Because we gotta, time is of the essence. I'm not saying that I'm gonna tell you when you have to have a dinner or something.
All right.
But
What are your priorities then, Aka?
getting whatever we can to stop the imminent demise of the world.
Let's make a list. Let's make a list.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what we have, how much money we collectively have for this.
Yeah.
And then we'll make a list.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll set some targets.
That's what I mean. If anyone knows anyone else who's got connections,
There was that
Could
place
maybe-
in Dungannon that with the connection to the Thieves Guild that I got the healing potion from that one time. They might still have something.
All my connections are dead.
Eleanor just kind of gently puts her hand on Brenda's shoulder and squeezes it. It's big oof.
While we are on the material plane, there are many paths that we might walk. But once we get to Calypso's, Hylan, myself, and Crick have an idea as to how we can make our way into the Bastion. Once we do that, we do need a plan to stop this ritual.
okay, what do you know about this ritual? Because I could try to work on that, maybe.
We still have the paper, don't we?
I have literally all the books that we've ever come across.
It was the book. It was the pamphlet that we found with
With the
Eleanor's. Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
think I still-
disemboweled.
Oh, right.
We had moved it over there,
The gross one.
but
It was in this. Yeah.
So gross.
Yeah, no, these are all the maps.
So you pull that out, and she nods a little bit. That is a part of it.
Okay.
They need to break the diotic metal that houses Azra to release her and her armies back into the main portion of Calypso's and then presumably to the material plane.
Okay. So, what else can you tell us about this ritual that we could, for lack of better term, fuck up?
If we can reach the place where the ritual is occurring and we can move any of the principal components, we could interrupt the ritual.
Okay, so we just have to get there. So then what can we do to better our chances of actually getting there without getting disemboweled or devoured or burned to death or
I think that's enough.
what?
When we go to Calypso's, no matter how we do, we will enter in the Huntlands. There we will be attacked by the Burning Banner. We have allies within them. We know the person that we will meet. They will pose us no problems. As long as none of you bear the taint of Azra.
Is there a way to check that? I'm assuming we would know. We would know, right?
You would know.
Okay.
Looking back, I'm like, probably those people that we had to fight just recently who had some sort of taint upon them.
It's all coming together.
Those
If you've ever manifested shadows,
those
or
tainted people with those
mushrooms, or
Corrupted swords.
Corrupted swords.
I like that. So, either way, she's going to say, we'll enter into the Huntlands, and from there we can make our way to the Gallifrey Arch. We've made a camp there, Crick and I. We can meet up with the few that we have on our side and make our way to the ruins of what was an Asimir city at one point. There are tunnels beneath that at one point were used as a fallback fortress. Now ruins, but they do connect to the Burning Bastion.
Okay. Do I know anything else about none of this besides like the surface knowledge that I have about Calypsos is like flashing to me here, right?
About what?
Like any of the places, like the named places that
So if
Era
you pull out
just
that
said.
map,
Yeah.
you'll see there is the Arch of Gallifrey. That is probably where the camp is that she's talking about. It's on the southern tip of that kind of river.
Okay, so we're looking
And you can actually see the Burning Bastion, top right-hand side of that map.
Burning Bastion.
It's a little close up there.
And so we're gonna enter from the Huntlands here. We fought at the Blade of Athos, right?
You saw it through the portal.
Well, I did.
At one point.
Gunter did.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we have to go here to the not to the burnt accord. Where did she say?
The Burning Bastion is where the Burning
Right.
Accord is housed in the So.
Yeah.
The Gallifrey's Arch?
Oh yeah. The arch.
So it's in the bottom middle, right over.
So we're gonna go from the Huntlands. So we're gonna go from the Huntlands down.
Yes.
Okay, and then through
Underground.
probably along this riverbed.
Well, you're going to go to the ruins of a city called Alendor, which you can see bottom right, those crumbled buildings,
Okay, so we're gonna go boop boop boop.
presumably.
However, to get from there to there. Okay.
What are the chances of something already being in the tunnels waiting for us?
Fairly good.
Excellent question.
But there are two things working in our favor. The first is that we know where Azra's lieutenants are. We know Jeruxa within the main level of this bastion, and his men along the upper two. We know that Zeistries occupies the top 3 levels, and we know that this Keeper Zera operates the areas outside of the bastion itself.
What do you know about this Keeper's Era? Because we've heard of Zeistries and Jeruxa, but this person I only know about from just seeing the statue like a couple hours ago. And Brenna, you know.
I mostly know. I mean, sorry, is it a she?
She, yeah.
Okay. I know that she tried to educate me when I was young, but instead she wound up driving me out of the town because I just. She wanted to make me into something I was not.
Okay.
I haven't seen her
Magic
since.
user.
What kind of magic are we talking about here? Psionics?
She can change the flow of time.
Oh, okay.
That sucks.
That's
Did I know that already?
You may have known elements of that. You've seen similar kind of like gravity magic to what you've already seen. The time stuff is high
that's like
level stuff.
incredibly rare high level magics, right?
Unknown to you.
Right.
This is like a deep known specific thing.
Right, but like time magic in general is
Yes.
like incredibly rare, and
The only other person who's done it was Professor Warudo, who had a spent their entire life figuring out how to do it and did not do it very well.
pretty okay.
You should go back and watch that.
Well, he survived.
Strong word for being stranded in space-time, but okay. You all, okay, so neither here nor there.
Abernathy survived.
From there, we can work our way up through the tower, avoiding the majority of the guards, along with the molten radiant fire that flows down the sides. moving up through the interior, we'll have a chance to alter the furnace as well. So that is an option to consider.
Okay, and what would that benefit us? Just more chaos to distract their army while
The entire structure flows with this molten, radiant fire. If we could turn it off, that is
Okay,
less
turning it
for
off.
us to be
Yeah,
heard with.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, are we going to try to avoid facing these lieutenants as much as possible and focus our attention on stopping the ritual? Or it feels like we're going to end up having to go against them whether or not we seek them out.
I don't know this keeper Zara. She looks conflicted. And then she says, but as much as it pains me to say this, we do need to deal with my father.
Zystris is your father?
Jeruxa.
Oh.
And for what it's worth, Zystris is kind of a shithead too.
I believe that Jeruxa is far more dangerous than Zystris is.
He is.
Oh no, even Shay agrees. Oh god.
He's essentially my grandfather. I know him pretty well.
Family is a lot.
Zystris
My
wants to live
condolences,
forever. That is something that's easy to understand. Jeruxa is motivated by something much more powerful and complex.
What is that?
Make a persuasion check.
That advantage.
For no reason, no.
I'm being really nice now.
Using my manners.
Asking
I'm not
questions.
talking
Using
for
his
10
manners.
minutes longer.
Can't disagree with that.
I managed to shut my mouth this time.
3.
He wants to protect the people that he cares about.
That's not us.
Or it is us, just in a way that is not great.
Like putting a bird in a cage, but like an entire world of people in a whatever they're planning.
Right.
He wants a way to cross the Jeweled Oasis and find my mother.
What's the Jeweled Oasis? Has Akka ever heard of that?
You heard Morwen mention it once.
Okay, so is
Okay, you have a very complicated family.
so if we show up and try to face them, they're gonna try to expedite this ritual.
There is no speeding this ritual up.
Okay, well that works in our favor then. So then we should focus first on taking out Jeruxa,
Agreed.
and the other two, I guess, you seem to think that they're lower priority. But if they
I think our priority
Encounter us.
should be interrupting the ritual and dealing with whoever gets in the way.
Okay, so day 1, gather things in Yorn. Day 2, have Carranza take us to Dungannon. Gather things in Dungannon. Day 3, still TBD. Day 4, TBD.
Brunch.
Yes.
Day 5, also TBD. Day 6, return to Yorn. Prepare to get to Calypsos. Day 7, get to Calypsos. Day
This is
8
a really, really
through
good
9,
plan. Yeah.
and probably 10, 11, as long as it takes, or until we die, fight our way through Calypsos defeat Jeruxa, probably face off against this Zera, and stop Zystris from finishing the ritual. And then that does it. Probably.
Easier than the alternative
Of dying?
of waiting for the ritual to be complete and facing a god.
That's true.
Time is against us.
Literally, we have a.
Time to start on day one then.
We make a list of wants and needs. Okay, if this is going to be... Okay, so we know for sure. Radiant. Necrotic. Time.
What? What does Jeruxa do?
You're asking Era?
Yeah. What makes him so formidable?
He is a true master of the Zin.
Of 1 to 10, 10 being Jeruxa's level of mastery in the Zinyi arts, and 1 being Glub. You met Glub? Very inept. Very, very inept. Cannot do, like, would probably break if he tried to punch anything. Where would you put Shay?
She turns and kind of regards Shay, and you can see for this moment, Shay, different than the first time that you encountered her, no longer wearing the orange and the kind of almost regulation gi of the Zinni scouts, wearing all white with these like radiant blue marks that streak down the
Final
arms.
arc outfit, yeah!
Shay is beyond what I have accomplished in the martial arts. But all of us, we're all different.
It's like 6?
Shay can hold her own against anyone. Of that I'm confident. But she will need all of your help.
Okay. I'm just trying to gauge because I've seen
Radiant.
Shay punch.
Necrotic.
Eleanor's like feverish taking notes.
Time.
Forget fire.
Monk fire. Thank you, Oakville.
Eleanor has like the strings of the fire. I'm all down.
Monk stuff.
Sylvia.
The stunning, I think, is problematic.
Stunning. I assume if you can punch positively, I'm assuming there's also opposites of.
That's just regular damage.
Charming hand, yes. He has a technique
Punch positive.
that is
Sorry.
able to cause himself harm to channel that same damage over to somebody else.
There we go. Okay.
Most of his followers have this ability now.
Good to know. So it's like that stuff that Frito was doing, but through monk instead of magic, or probably still magic. Okay, it's not. Okay, it doesn't matter. We need healing stuff. All right,
We need more than healing stuff.
Okay, we know we need other things beside healing.
we need
Era look
healing
around
stuff.
at this, and she's going to say, "Where's the cleric?"
Oh, you mean Glub? Glub.
No.
Funny story.
Was Gunter, now Glub. Shay knows more about it. I've learned about it over the course of, last
Oh
couple
yeah,
of
we
months.
need to revisit. We need to revisit this. What happened with Club?
So, from what I've gathered, and Shay, you can add or subtract anything that doesn't make sense with what actually happened, but from what I've gathered, this guy Gunter,
Who was the cleric?
died,
Yep.
came back from, I think, the 9th layer of hell? Not sure which. I don't know if Shay knows either, but one of the layers of hell, devil's chasing this club, comes back reincarnated as the Grung that you've met. Doesn't seem to remember anything about anything. Is, again, you've met Glove.
Sorry, the cleric is a monk now.
He spent some time here after his reincarnation.
Wouldn't necessarily say.
I don't think he actually gained much, but he did.
He meditated for a little. But then now he's in Dungannon, which is another reason why I wanted us to go there, because he is being watched over.
Wait, pause for a second. The Grey Lady
Yes.
wants Glub,
Yes.
right? Because he was Gunter?
Presumably,
And she went through your memories?
to find his location.
So, is she gonna go through his memories?
No, she'll probably
Okay.
trade him back to the devils.
About this moment, you feel a sending stone. You pick up the stone. You pull the sending stone up, and you can hear on the other end, Mr. Gift. Aka,
Yes, hey!
whatever you were saying before, there is something strange going on.
What's up?
Can you come back to Dungannon
How soon?
now?
Right now? Yeah, I'll be there as soon as
You
I
hear
can.
in the background, "Oh, sir," and then you could just hear Mr. Gift turn and just kind of go, "Just a moment, Club. There are people waiting outside.
People?
It's hard to explain. Can you please come quickly?"
I'll come as quickly as I can. Okay, just don't let them do anything to Glove. Don't let them in. I'll be there soon. Okay.
This is sound effects.
Okay. Change of plans.
Change of plans.
I need to get to Dungannon right now. So day 1, go to Dungannon.
Okay.
Day 2.
Okay.
all
We
right,
can
all right.
yeah,
back
we'll
to
talk
your
about the rest on the way. Come on.
To go find Karanza.
Okay, I'm running after to go try to find Karanza.
Sure. The two of you cross the stone floors. You head over to the library again. You can see different clothing now, no longer with this kind of high-collared thing. It looks like she's still wearing more comfortable-looking brown robes. But you rush up, you bring her back over to the group, and Karanza coming back, still wearing almost like pajamas, essentially, blinking the sleep out of her eyes. All right, what do you guys all need?
So, remember what we were talking about last night? I'm really, really sorry, but there's more urgency than I initially thought last night when we talked about this. Could you take us to Dungannon right now?
What?
Right as soon, rub the sleep out of your eyes, but then right now.
She scans this kind of group of all of you.
Karanza, it would appear that something is going on in Dungannon that we need to address urgently, and your assistance would be greatly appreciated. We can pay you.
Yeah, whatever you need, just right now.
All right. You guys got to put me up somewhere, though, because I got to stay there for a whole day.
Yeah, you're fine. There's a wonderful hotel across the street from where we're going, and you could even stay in the place as long as it's not going to be, destroyed when we get there. But again, urgency. So,
breakfast is in like an hour. Can we wait until?
no breakfast. You can eat when we get there. Stuck in, and there's wonderful food everywhere. You can just go have a time. Treat it
Brenna's gonna reach up and shush Akka, put her little hand on his face, and she's gonna turn to Karanza and be like, "It really is urgent. I'm so sorry. If you could get us there right now, we'd be deeply grateful."
She closes the book and tucks it under her arm. All right, but you got to put me up somewhere good this
fine.
Not the same
Sure.
shitty
My
place
hand is
last-
still on
It's a tiny little hand.
We're happy to repay you with whatever lodgings
whatever you need. It's fine.
that you require.
All right.
Right now.
Are you going too? And you can see Era turns and just kind of looks at you.
We could probably use all the help we could get, and you seem like you'd be helpful. I don't know. You're good at healing. It's the tangential to what we were just talking about. So we should probably go.
We should go.
We should go.
Karanza kind of nods and goes, all right. What part of Dungan are you trying to get to?
Two-Fay Museum? You been?
I'm familiar with the place. There's a bank across the street.
Yeah.
I can get you the bank.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Great.
All right. Damn it. Everybody go and touch the shoulders. Everybody who wants to can go in. Era does. Oakfeld, you do as well.
As we're poofing out of existence. Again, Karanza, really appreciate it. So sorry, but really appreciate it.
You know what? It's really good that we had that talk last night.
I appreciate you.
All right. She closes her eyes and visualizes this museum. And as she does, all around you, suddenly there is this shift. And at first, it's almost like the stones in Yorn fall away beneath your feet, and you look down expecting to fall into the thousands of feet below. And as you look down, all that there is just the cobblestones of Dungannon. And all of you look, and across the street, you see the Two-Fay Museum. Give me just one moment.
What
here.
time is it?
It is about 9 in the morning. Actually, no, probably about 7 in the morning. You guys went early.
There's a time difference.
Fun fact: the Brenna's dwarf friend that Shay killed was a cleric.
Oof.
Big oof.
So,
Because apparently we're just clerics. Just don't drive. They don't make it.
there is this sensation of movement, and all of you stop, kind of gathering your settings. You're on the front part of the bank. As you appear, the dust skitters across the street, and for the moment you look around. There's a few kind of surprised onlookers. You don't see any Navy members, nobody who might give you trouble. But what you do see is the door to the basement of the Two-Fay Museum.
I'm bolting.
Okay, bolt forward.
Yep.
You all run forward.
I'm flying.
Sure. For those of you who are stepping, you splash across the puddles into the sewer-like space. And as you get to where the door is normally locked and bolted, you can see the metal and stone blackened and twisted. Let me get you some visual perspective.
At least we're rested.
Yeah, we got to take a nap.
If we hadn't, almost certainly I would die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd
Oh, yeah.
The creature that I used to be. 2 creatures, really.
Exciting.
That mini is too big, Joe.
No! Does it have a top hat? Oh no, that's a big hammer.
Oh, top hat. Oh, no.
No, it's not a top hat at
Creature's
all.
supposed to be knocked down.
Okay. Wait.
Here's a little close
right.
up. Fire.
Yay!
Shift that. You can slide the actual, it's all.
Sorry.
Oh, look at him go.
Poor sweet
You can see a little club in there.
Baby glove.
And actually, Drea is in that back room as well, although she is currently, I did not finish painting her. I forgot to put her down. But she's there.
Barricaded in.
Here's a blue hand for the blue dragonborn.
Barricaded in there.
Pretend this is a dragonborn.
Sorry. I cannot pretend. It was just.
as you rush in, and where you are entering is kind of right into where that demon creature is. Yeah, certainly.
Right in here.
You would enter straight through this busted open door, and you see this massive, armored, angelic-looking creature, black wings that seem to be almost smoke that drift out from behind. She turns, you see these massive red pointed horns, eyes of fire, and this huge sword. Bigger than
I've
any
never
of you
seen
right
anything
now.
like this, right?
Certainly not.
Okay. I'm just not even gonna stop to talk or anything. I'm just attacking this thing right away.
Okay.
He's not gonna stop to talk. He's grown.
So you rush in, seeing this massive creature that towers, kind of almost bending in the space. And as you rush forward, this other creature, almost like a hound, though huge, almost bison-like horns that spread out from the head, and this awful-looking mouth full of row upon row of sharp teeth, beady, lizard-like yellow eyes crane back and look at you. And this tongue rolls out and hits the floor before kind of rattling like a rattlesnake.
I've seen one of those, right?
Those dogs?
Yeah.
You have not?
Not Akka, but me, Matt.
No.
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 Okay.
You've seen a couple different things, but nothing like this.
Okay.
It smells in this room of brimstone and fire. And you can see in the hallway beyond that, would lead to Drea's chambers, the guest chambers, the forge. You see just beyond in the hallway open a wrought iron black metal door. From within, you can see a burning mountain in the distance. You see a pit of violently churning molten filth, and within, suspended in jettisons of this fire, are very familiar to Gunter, orbs of iron. In which souls are imprisoned for thousands of years, where there is no end to this scalding hot metal.
It's in here?
It's through the other door. The one that
Through this door.
No.
Oh, okay.
The other door, which is Mr. Gift's office, is currently barricaded, and you can see elements of damage to the hallway and the door beyond. You would imagine Mr. Gift and company kind of often in the office, which is pretty heavily warded.
Okay.
But because it is 9:45, and I don't want to start what is going to be a pretty major combat,
Gotta save Tom.
this is where we're going to end for the evening. So thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah, pretty cool mini, right?
Hey, maybe you'll kill 2 of my player characters in one go.
I thought about that. One thing I will say, make an Arcana check as you kind of rush into this room.
That's cocked. That's also cocked.
There's a lot of textures that hit. Yeah.
The charm here. Hey, all right, 28.
You see in this Aaron Ray's hip, like they could easily snatch it from their hand. It is almost this glowing looking lasso. And you've seen several of them before in terms of like text about them. It's a little different than the ones you've seen. The ones that you've seen are called chains of entanglement, which are typically used to ensnare. This one seems to glow with the light of the moon, and you would imagine this is designed to force those that have changed shape back to their original form.
Oh, shit.
But because it is 9:48, this is where we're going to end for the evening. So thank you for hanging out with us for this session of Adventures in Alberon. We are going to be back next week. I believe everybody's back. So you can hang out with us then. But if you don't want to wait that long, you can absolutely hang out with us next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a little Starfinder action. Pew, 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 pew. However, because it is crazy out there, please stay safe. We'll see you then. Take care.
Bye.
And enjoy our cool little outro.
Oh, it's so good.